chat, we have FM26 match engine footage. We have it now. We just got it. Reddit's upset. Yeah, until they cancel it again. We'll break down what Reddit says, but form your own opinions, all right? Minute 13 seconds, first look reveal. Done. Already sold. Already sold. I don't get how anybody can be unhappy with this level of graphical upgrade, considering what we've come from. Do you know how much better this looks? Like, sure, it looks like World Cup 2010, the video game. A lot better than a mobile game from 2007. You hit me with these visuals with my guys? Yeah, obviously the players don't look great. They don't own the faces, dude. It's the atmosphere, the feel of it is so much better.
You know we don't play, stay out the way. Check out this look on my face. I'll come save the day. Give me my cape, look at I'm flying away. Five-star cream of the crop, go and make spot, go and put the cherry on top. This one can't be stopped, giving them shock. It's really like that, don't believe me, just watch.
The funny thing is they're showing off that bicycle kick. That is what the bicycle kick always looks like in this freaking game, dude. And that bicycle kick looks exactly the same. All right. Let's rewatch that.
You know we don't play, stay out the way. Check out this look on my face. I'll come save the day. Give me my cape, look at I'm flying away. Five-star cream of the crop, go and make spot, go and put the cherry on top. This one can't be stopped, giving them shock. It's really like that, don't believe me, just watch. 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 Don't believe me, just watch.
All right, chat, what is your initial reaction? I just kind of let it play there at the end to make sure there's nothing there. What is your initial reaction to watching that, chat? On Twitch, on YouTube, what do you guys think? W, trust him. It's an improvement. Love it. Take it with a grain of salt. All right. Jarvis increased trailer by 30%. Sign me up now. Yeah, I mean, okay. I want to deep dive into this, but I think what might be able to guide our deep dive is if we can find a reaction to this on Reddit, because apparently people are reacting to this on Reddit in a certain way. Screenshots from the Steam page. Maybe they can what are the bad things that I'm supposed to be like? Here are the bad things that I noticed. The players don't look great, right? The players still look like we just installed some drug addicted, crazy regen heads on top of the players. But in Football Manager that the faces are never going to be great, ever, because they don't own the faces. They look like supermarket simulator customers. Yes. Yes, they do. But it's like, if you don't own the faces, you can't make the person, right? Not that they're, the new gen faces in Football Manager have long been a crime against humanity that should be reported to the Geneva Convention. We know this, right? How it simulates the match is more important than how it looks. I agree with this 100%. But how it looks is also important. And I think what we're running into now is people are... the other thing I can imagine is on certain highlights. Let me see if I can find some of them. Oh, over here. Watch this. This guy just goes through this guy. I think. I don't even know what's going on there. It's not I don't think there isn't a physics engine going on. This guy is so cringe. Yeah. I hate it when that happens. Never meet your heroes. Goalkeeper animations look better. I'm just saying there's certain animations like that looks, this all looks exactly the same as FM24. That goalkeeper animation of him kind of swatting at the ball there is very new. Like you don't get that in old football managers. Like that's an old football manager looking shot. You can see him kind of floating around a little bit, like he's not totally anchored to the ground. They seemed really into free kicks. And maybe that's because it's like a far post free kick and you never really see those. But I can understand a couple of issues that people might have with this, which would be the underlying match engine doesn't look like it's gotten a huge upgrade, and the players themselves don't look great. But the atmospheric visual difference of the gameplay experience. Right, let me mute it now. The atmospheric difference here it's insane. I mean, go look at FM24 and you just couldn't get some of these angles and some of the crosses. That's a beautiful save. People said that Reddit's really upset about this. So let's see if they found some things we missed. I can't wait to see the players hit the bar with these graphics. Show me the pitching. These look way better. I thought you guys said Reddit was mad. Is there like one post or something? Love the UI. Oh yeah, apparently there's a UI upgrade. Let's go look at that. The video post. The animations almost feel identical. Oh, no way. The lighting and some graphical elements are definitely upgraded, but the sliding around, lack of player interactions with each other, lack of distinguishable player features, and ball physics still appear the same. For game and dev for 5 years now, I'm kind of underwhelmed. Looks like old match engine animations with a new bit of paint. I feel like this is reductive, obviously, but this is the closest fair criticism. That they've obviously worked really hard to port basically what they had into Unity, but how much were they able to upgrade the underlying match engine in the process of bringing it into Unity and giving it this whole new look, right? How much are they really able to change it? I don't know. It's a polished FM24 match engine adapted to Unity. It probably is. It doesn't really look that different to the old engine when it comes to play. Okay, so it's just people pointing out the same movements in the engine. Stadium, the fans look much better, but I guess after 2-year delays, I was expecting a bit more in terms of actual football. You might read but these comments I'm imagining are reflecting the same thing that the Reddit's talking about. I just was looking for something to guide like the people that were upset. Because my first reaction was great, right? My first reaction was this is a really significant improvement. It's what I expected, which is a very large visual improvement to the match day experience. So we got a little sneak peek of the UI, did we? No, we didn't. Where? Yeah, the match engine is the underlying code that is making all of these people do things. The graphics engine is what makes it all pretty and stuff. They look like real people. It's undeniable there's been a nice graphical improvement, but the heart of the game lies in the management aspect. I want to see the other changes in tactics and in the game panels. I mean, I love comments like this because didn't SI come out and be like, we are unveiling these things in this order, right? And next up is the look at the match engine, right? Where it's like, they're going to get to that, you know? I know the UI is different, right? They talked about the UI being different. That was the first thing that they were talking about for FM25 is the UI is different. And Unity has like UI integration features and stuff. Unity has the ability to integrate that way, which is really good. Any idea when it's out? Yeah. No. I guarantee you, I know these people. I know Miles. I know a lot of the people in the studio, right, that I've met once or twice, right? I guarantee you the vast majority of people at Sports Interactive have no idea when this game is coming out, and very few people do. Even if it is leaked in they've given the release date to some company that wasn't able to keep it secret, I guarantee you they're trying to, they're militant about that stuff. But yeah, this is one of those things where like they wanted to lead with the graphic improvements so that they were probably hoping people would have the initial reaction that I had, which was to look at it and then be like, damn. You know, like that. There is some UI. There are UI screenshots. No, there aren't. This is all I have. I have 5 shots, and it's like, dude, I will say this. Is there a way for me to full screen this? This UI in the match is clean as hell. Oh, you're just talking about match UI? It is so clean. This is obviously also closer than I feel like any camera's ever gotten in FM. That's the license. Now, I'm talking about like tactics, instructions, balanced, well hidden, but very easily accessible in the top left. And then at the bottom, you've got this click up to bring stuff up, right? But you've got your position, match rating, and fitness level of all the players. It lets you know how many subs you've got left as well. This is obviously having the Premier League license, which is great. I'd love to see what it looks like between highlights, but I don't think they've shown us that. Hi, this is somebody watching a replay. They clearly just simulated a bunch of matches, and they're like, yo, can we just sim matches until we get a sick-looking goal? And then they found that sick-looking goal by going back through the matches and like finding a replay where these are taken from somebody actually managing a match. That's really funny. Now, I like the match UI. I mean, again, when it comes to the UI stuff, we're really grasping at straws here. Like, we're really grasping at straws here. What else are they? They're probably the response to the match day trailer. As long as every third goal is a back post header scored by a 5'7" winger, I'll be happy. For some reason, it looks good and bad at the same time. That's kind of true, though. It's just because I've talked about this before, but it's really like important now, is if you are able to upgrade the graphics enough, the limiting factor for all of this is going to be the match engine itself and not the actual graphics engine. And I think we've reached that point. Like, I think watching this, it's pretty clear that the limiting factor for everything now is going to be the match engine and what it allows players to do. Because we're seeing, I mean, that is a great bend on the players are still weirdly shiny, right? Great bend on this cross. Like there's more, it's not pure physics engine yet, but it's way more lifelike. The way they float across the field is so annoying. Yeah, I don't know what it would take for Football Manager to introduce like a physics engine, but here's what I will say. Watch this. Watch how firmly this dude's foot hits the ground. It doesn't slide at all, and it's kind of awesome. Like his plant foot, boom. That looks super real. Like there's moments. There are moments where you can see how realistic it is, right? And then other times it looks, that's a slide? No, watch his plant foot. Not any step before that. The plant foot right here. It sticks. It's like there's certain parts of the animation. It's like, whoa, that's amazing. Now, we already looked at the player faces in the lineup, Hark. There were two things. Because my initial impression, obviously, I watch it, I'm super excited, and I'm like, you know, the lighting, visually, you're just like, damn, this is great. Well, he skates into it. Chad, he skates into it, but he does, the plant, like, he goes into a new animation, which is the shooting animation, and his foot, like, sticks. Think about what they're going to charge for this. Oh, they're not going to charge more than 50. What was the last game? 40? They'll charge 50 for this one. If they charge more than that, I'd be surprised. I don't think they're going to change, like, the approach to the game or the studio. I think they should change it more, but I don't think they're going to change it much. 50 is way too much. I mean, it was 40. They need to recover the year of income, I guess, but they didn't really fire anybody, so I think they were just sitting on a pile of money. It was 45. Yeah, it'd be $49.99. Yes, it would be $49.99. Would the Bay video games seem to be priced? You never know. I don't know. There's certain things like that SI is really, really aggressive about. They're really aggressive about adhering to what Football Manager, what they believe it should be, right? They don't add anything that is not like strict adherence to football management in a lot of ways. They're very aggressive with that, and they're very aggressive about limiting expectations. And you can say a lot of things about SI and that maybe they pump games out sometimes like every yearly sports game or whatever, but they really, really, really don't, gouge people for money. They really don't. There's basically no microtransactions. You have the editor that you buy for, what was it, like $8? The in-match editor. But, when you compare it to people like EA, right? You compare it to people like, that make a lot of the huge games out there. SI doesn't apply a lot of those same practices. Yeah, I agree. I think even if they are malicious, Dragon Ball on Twitch, I agree, dude. Even if they are malicious, it would be wise to not overprice the game after the cancellation because they already broke the trust with their fans or whatever. And so they would want to not do that. That should be the bare minimum of the company. Yeah, but I'm just saying people were like, oh, they're going to charge $70 for it. And I'm explaining why I don't think they're going to. I agree that it would be great if every company wasn't trying to suck up every dime that wasn't nailed down. But SI at least is able to give off the appearance that they're not doing that. Look at Firaxis and Civ 7. Yeah, I'm just like every game. I love Paradox games. They have 4 billion DLC, right? They release a half-finished game and then spend the next 5 years patching it. But no, let's keep it rolling. That was like a Lamella chip thing? Oh, that's like a messy chip. Actually, never seen that before, so that's new. Zila might eat his words in a few days. I would genuinely be very surprised if they were like, this is a $70 game. I'd be very surprised. FM DLCs would be different leagues, absolutely. Paradox already has DLC planned for EU5. That's not that weird. It's weird that they're confident enough to talk about it, but the people making that DLC are like part of a separate team with a different deadline. So that's the way they've set that up. My PC can't run it, so it's starting at 400 pounds for me. I don't know how I feel about that, right? Obviously, this is a significant part of my life and livelihood, and so I'm going to have the appropriate computers to play it, and that's never going to be a problem. Yeah, the specs are known because it's on Steam. System requirements: Windows 10, Intel Core i3 530. That's minimum. That's a pretty low minimum. Yeah, it's like, obviously you'd love to make games that basically everybody could play, but at a certain point, if you want to improve the product of the game, you're going to have to start trimming the margins of people that have been playing Football Manager on a smart toaster that's 20 years old, right? Like, you're going to need to start to cut in on that a little bit. 20 gigabytes available space. It was 10 a few years ago. I don't really understand this stuff that much, but I know an i3 530 is really low level. This obviously being the minimum side, this is the recommended for it to be able to run like super smoothly. I've seen people joking, like, watching the video going, oh, my computer's going to sound like a jet engine taking off. To be honest, when I played this game in lecture in college, which is how I got into it, of course, just sitting in the back of lectures playing Football Manager, my laptop sounded like a jet engine taking off. I think it's just because of how CPU intensive the game is, right? Football Manager is always going to be mainly CPU intensive, not GPU, like graphics. So I don't know if adding the graphics in too much is like, your CPU's already in overdrive trying to run this game, even with the low specs. Yeah, I think it's somebody, I think, said 2019. If you've bought a computer 2019 or after, you're probably good. That was 6 years ago. Is more recent. That feels more recent, right? But that was 6 years ago. Will there be 2D? I'm sure there will be 2D. There would be a January 6th at the SI Studios if they did not include 2D in the game. No, the 2D people would not stand for a lack of 2D at all. They would not stand for a lack of 2D. See if there's anything else that we might have missed. I think all the reactions are generally going to be overhyped in both directions. But I think what we see is the limiting factor is now going to be the match engine. And there is a really significant, to me, like there is a really, that was a terrible little hydroplane this guy just does right up here. Yeah, there's still, it's certain animations, they're just super unanchored to the field. I don't know what they need to do in the code to fix that, dude. I don't know what they need to do in the code to fix that. You joke about 1D, you can play commentary only. That is in the game. I really do love the lighting. And the lighting and the color. I didn't like the color. It makes every other Football Manager look super washed out. Keep in mind, obviously, the only reason I'm saying this is because I am a paid shill for Football Manager. That's the only logical explanation. So here's what I think we're working with. I think we're working with a 1-year improvement on the match engine and a 5-year improvement on the graphics engine. Obviously, we got to wait and see on the UI. That is also likely going to be another huge change. Pixel Pennant said, we know. Dude, if I was getting paid by Football Manager to say nice things, do you know how over the top I would be about it? Floating, and then his foot sticks. That is the weirdest video to me. It's some of the worst hydroplaning and then some of the best physics all wrapped into one. In summation, the new thing for people to get mad at is the match engine itself. The graphics engine is great. It can present 3D trees, great lighting, depth of color. The only thing that feels unrealistic are some of the player movements and the fact that the match engine seems to have progressed one game edition from the last one, even though the graphics have gone from 2007 mobile game to 2014 World Cup video game level, right? The huge jump in the graphic capability, but what this video also shows is that the match engine is not going to be a huge upgrade from the game that we had 2 years ago. And that is definitely going to piss some people off. Definitely. The hope is that with this new graphics engine, the match engine can reach heights that it was not able to reach before.